It was 2:17 a.m. when I finally gave up pretending I was asleep. The ceiling above me blurred into a cold, quiet nothing, and the silence pressed harder than the weight of any thought. My phone sat face down on the dresser, but I could feel it calling me. Emails, missed calls, notifications I was too exhausted to answer. My body was there, sunk into the mattress like a man too tired to swim, but my mind was unraveling. I'd missed another deadline, the third this month, and I hadn't called my mom in weeks. My relationships were fraying, my creativity gone, and every day felt like dragging a broken engine through molasses. I used to be driven, I used to be awake. Now I was just surviving, and even that felt optional. So at 2:18 a.m. I stood up, not because I had a plan, not because I was inspired, but because I couldn't keep sinking, and somewhere between despair and desperation, I made a decision that felt stupid at the time. I'm waking up at 5 a.m. every day, for a month, no matter what. It wasn't a productivity hack. It was a cry for rhythm, for meaning. I didn't want more hours in the day. I wanted to feel alive in the hours I had. What happened next? What that one decision did to my soul, my mind, my relationships, shocked me, and I'll share all of it with you. But first, let me take you to day one. Day one hit like a brick wall wrapped in fog. At 5 a.m., the alarm shattered the silence. My body begged for mercy. My head throbbed like it was still glued to yesterday's burnout, and everything inside me whispered, just 5 more minutes. But I'd made a promise, not to the world, not to YouTube, to the version of me that was tired of being tired. I stumbled to the sink, splashed cold water on my face, and stared at a reflection I barely recognized. Puffy eyes, hollow cheeks, but behind all that, a flicker, like the first spark before a fire. Here's the thing no one tells you about waking up early. The hardest part isn't the alarm. It's what it reveals. It peels back the excuses. It confronts the chaos you usually outrun. When the world is still quiet, there's no one to blame. No meetings, no noise. Just you, and your truth. And that truth? It's uncomfortable. I realized I'd been drowning in distractions, hiding in busy work, pretending I didn't have time. But time was never the problem. Avoidance was. That first hour, alone in the stillness, forced me to ask questions I'd buried for months. Who am I without the noise? What am I avoiding? And what would happen if I stopped running? By day 5, something strange happened. I started to crave the silence. There's a kind of sacred stillness at 5 a.m. No buzzing phones, no traffic, just the soft hum of the fridge, the rustle of wind against the window, and the quiet rhythm of your own breath. In that space, the world doesn't ask anything of you. It doesn't expect you to perform or produce. You just are. And in that emptiness, I found clarity. I journaled without censoring. I planned without panic. I sat with thoughts I usually drowned in dopamine. And slowly, my mornings stopped feeling like punishment and started feeling like peace. Psychologists call this preemptive control. Starting the day on your terms, instead of reacting to someone else's. And it's true. When you own your morning, you stop being at the mercy of the day. It's not about productivity. It's about power. Personal power. I wasn't just getting things done. I was getting to know myself again. By week 2, I noticed something no to-do list had ever given me: margin. Before this, I lived on the edge of exhaustion, always 5 minutes behind, running on coffee and guilt. But waking up at 5 a.m. gave me something burnout had stolen: breathing room. I started moving slower, but thinking clearer. Instead of racing to catch up, I was finally ahead. I wasn't just reacting to life. I was designing it. Burnout isn't just about working too much. It's about working without meaning, without pause, without alignment. And I had been trapped in that cycle for years. But those early hours? They became my reset button. Some mornings I wrote, others I just watched the sunrise. But every time, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time: capacity. Not just to do more, but to feel more, to reconnect, to create, to rest without guilt. And that, I realized, was the true miracle of 5 a.m. It didn't give me more time, it gave me myself back. What I found in the stillness: there's a moment, usually around 5:47 a.m., when the sky turns this soft, ghost blue, and everything goes quiet in a different kind of way. Not empty, alive. I started to notice things I used to miss. The way the trees stretched before the sun, the gentle breath of the world waking up, the sound of my own thoughts, without judgment. And in that stillness, I found something I didn't expect: grief. Grief for the time I'd wasted numbing myself, for the dreams I'd shelved, for the people I'd drifted from while chasing things that never mattered. But alongside the grief was grace, because the silence didn't just confront me, it forgave me. It whispered, "You're not behind, you're just beginning," and that changed everything. I stopped trying to be the old me. I stopped chasing some imagined, hyper-productive version of myself. I started showing up, not as who I thought I should be, but who I was in that moment, imperfect, awake, real. Practical shifts that changed everything. Waking up at 5 a.m. didn't work because of the hour. It worked because of the habits I'd built around it. Here's what actually made the difference. No phone for the first hour. I used to start my day in other people's lives. Texts, feeds, problems. Now I start with mine. That one boundary rebuilt my focus and sanity. Micro goals, not big expectations. I didn't pressure myself to write a novel or run 10 miles. I just aimed to be present. Read a page. Breathe for 5 minutes. Do one intentional thing. Small wins stacked daily, built momentum. Sleep became sacred. This wasn't about sacrificing rest. I had to earn my mornings by honoring my nights. No more mindless scrolling until midnight. I traded dopamine for discipline, and I never looked back. A morning question. Every day, before anything else, I wrote down one thing. What do I need most today? Some days the answer was courage, others forgiveness. But asking that question gave me direction and compassion. These weren't hacks, they were anchors. And over time, they didn't just change my mornings, they changed me. The real gift of 5 a.m., 30 days later, I didn't just have a new habit, I had a new relationship. With time, with silence, with myself. The real gift of waking up early wasn't more productivity, it was presence. It was learning that before the world asks anything of you, you have a chance to ask something of yourself. It taught me that peace isn't found in escape or achievement, it's found in attention. And attention is a muscle, one I'd been letting atrophy for years. I'm not saying everyone needs to wake up at 5 a.m. That's not the point. The point is, find your stillness. Create space before the noise. Reclaim 1 hour a day, not to hustle, but to heal. Because sometimes the most radical act of self-respect is simply choosing to begin before the world tells you who to be. So if you've been feeling stuck, burned out, or just lost, don't wait for life to slow down. Wake up before it does. Even just for a week, even just for one day. You might be surprised what you find in the dark, quiet hour before the light. If this resonated with you, take a moment, right now, before you jump into your next task. Hit the like button, subscribe for more real talks like this, and comment below with one thing you're going to change about your mornings starting tomorrow. Remember, the first step toward waking up to your full potential is choosing to show up. And I believe you can do it.